Let's break down the chase. In Dynamite Collision on deck, we call every move, every hit, every check. If you want the truth, opinions, and fire, welcome to the winner circle.
We are here. Welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. We have Dolores to thank for that wonderful opening intro theme song. We love it over here. It's a banger for sure. Thank you, Dolores. I think that's an AI creation, but our wonderful producer, Dolores, works all that out in the background. So every graphic you see, every sound you hear, that's all Dolores. So thank you. We love her. Go check out her website, or I'm sorry, her YouTube channel. She's a pink girl living in a pink world. Miss Dolores, if she's around at some point, which she may be, she'll drop her link in the chat. In the meantime, if you're new to Workhorse Wrestling Network, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. I am your boy ALW. That is the Anarchy Queen, Miss Anika over there. We are here to talk all things AEW from like the last 7 days or so, roughly. We're going to do, they had last weekend, they did Saturday and Sunday 1 hour collisions, slam dunk collisions in honor of NCAA March Madness. We're not going to do Saturdays, we're just going to do Sunday's 1 hour show. Then we're going to talk about Dynamite from Wednesday, and then cap it off with last night's collision. And yeah, without much further ado, I'll put up the little banner here so you guys can know which show we're talking about first. We're going to just run kind of quickly through the slam dunk collision from Sunday. I'll be honest with you. I know that as a wrestling fan, I shouldn't probably say this and I should want more, but like that hour is so nice and just digestible. Like it feels so tight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is so nice.
Yeah.
I don't have to block out so much time to watch even a 2 hour show. It feels like it even takes more than 2 hours to watch sometimes. Just and to squirrel away that time in my life. So that hour was nice. And during that hour, we did get to see Roderick Strong finally quit the hemming and hawing and say, I'm a member of the conglomeration. So I'm glad that happened. And then Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong opened the show against Jay Lethal and Lee Johnson of Lethal Twist, which is an interesting name. I guess they're getting maybe a lot of run on Ring of Honor. I don't watch Ring of Honor, so I don't know. It's nice to see Jay Lethal and Lee Johnson both on my regular AEW television, so that was nice. Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong, as you would imagine, they're AEW, mainstays, and with Roderick Strong just joining the conglomeration officially. They did get the win, but again, it's nice to see Jay Lethal and Lee Johnson. I wish we could see more of them on AEW TV. But Roderick Strong joining the conglomeration, and this match, what do you think, Anika?
The match wise, these are probably the best wrestlers on AEW, more so historically, and it's still in the ring, period, right? So match wise, this looks so good. Roderick, what's the word? Roderick officially joined the conglomeration. It was so long winded. It was just like, bruh, or just like, and then when he left, it was just like, huh? That's huh? But like you said, he's finally here now, so hopefully we'll get better and more progressive stories, like stories for the future with OC, Roderick. Who else is in there? Willow's still in there. And we definitely need to see Mark Briscoe come back because bruh, where you been at? I need definitely more on that screen. So it is what it is for the whole Roderick officially joining, but match wise it was really good. I definitely confirm with you that we need more Jay Briscoe on the Jay Lethal on the television screen.
Yeah. Collision's in a bit of an identity crisis at the moment. Like, we have since 2026 has started, we've had some
Yeah.
really, really solid collisions. And I feel like Collision has really stepped its game up. And then I feel like the two slam dunks, they weren't bad. Like ours were great, but just like the matches they had on them, they felt like a second. Like, it felt back to being the collision that is really a second thought to a certain extent. Not that I didn't enjoy this match. It's just this match really means nothing. I mean, this match, unfortunately for Jay Lethal and Lee Johnson, is really secondary to Roderick Strong joining the conglomeration, which I guess is a big story. I mean, I don't see that as a big story. Like that could have been done very quickly, on anything, but they seem to make it a big deal
Yeah.
on, which is fine, but it is what it is, right? That's why Collision in the past has had kind of that B show feel. So, but it's had some phenomenal episodes also this year too. And I'm going to say that when we get to it, last night's episode was insane. So, but nonetheless, we had a couple of segments with the women. We had Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale challenging the Divine Dominion for their titles back on schedule for Dynamite, which we'll talk about. Or no, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dynamite. So we'll talk about that. And then we had Divine Dominion, Megasis, Megan Bain, and the Colossal Lena Cross defeat two essentially kind of nobodies in a squash match to show how good they are. Anything you want to say about this, just in general?
This was one of those needed needed matches, where just like, correct me if I'm wrong, this is either their first match teaming up or maybe their second, but definitely like it's been less than three. Definitely less than three. So we definitely needed this kind of what's the word? Definitely need to see them working together before they go up against big competitors again. So like I said, this much needed. They're two mega powers, mega Amazon like women, so dominating two other women. Uh, Pause. That's what was supposed to happen. So I'm not mad at that. How they approach it. So like I said, it was one of those much needed matches.
Yeah, I mean, to put the belt on a team that basically has done nothing together, or on our TV at least together, I thought was an interesting choice. Don't get me wrong, I know Megan Bain has kind of been due a title to a certain extent because she's been kind of pushed that way since she came in, and Lena Cross is whatever she is. But the fact that they beat Harley and Willow to take those titles, essentially, I think first or second match ever together was kind of odd. And now, so I mean, it is what it is. You're right. I mean, they need some matches under their belts. They need to be on TV showing us why, I guess, they deserve to be women's champions, I suppose. But for me, beating two women that we don't know, that means nothing, doesn't really show us that they really deserve to be women's champions. I mean, it shows how dominant they can be. Which is
Yeah,
fine, but we already know that. Like, I mean, Lena
yeah,
Cross, I guess, is a little unknown just because she's has been around so much less than the Megasis, but we know what Megan Bain can do, so I don't really need to see her continue to squash women. Like, I've seen that. So, but
yeah.
it is what it is. Um, then we had what, in my opinion, definitely the best match of the night. Well, I mean, I thought it was. This and the main event were definitely the best match. But Tommaso Ciampa, newly over from WWE, versus the problem child Leo Rush, who,
That's what
unfortunately
we're
for him,
calling
I think it's a fitting name. I mean, I think that's the name he goes by. I mean, that's what he calls himself on the independent scene. So, which unfortunately I think for
Sure.
him is a little bit of a fitting name. It's probably some self-reflection because,
Yeah.
again, he's one of those guys where I don't. There's got to be something else because I don't quite see the disconnect because he should be, way more on the main stage and on
Advanced.
the big screen than he
Yeah.
is. So I think some of that, I think a lot of that is just his own ideas on what he wants to do, which is fine. Again, I don't mean that in a negative way. You can think what you want and do what you want, right? That's one of the great things about life. So, but nonetheless, these are the matches, not necessarily hadn't envisioned Leo Rush, but these are the matches that I always want when we get the WWE guys uh, freed from WWE
Yes.
essentially, right? All these,
Yes.
matches with all these guys that are so great that you don't get with the WWE sometimes. So Tommaso Ciampa versus Lio Rush was everything I wanted it to be. Tommaso Ciampa did get the win, which doesn't surprise me because he's, now a big deal on AEW and getting pushed. I'm still not sure I totally understand the whole win the belt, lose the belt like within a month, but it is what it is. And I'm sure he'll have his new Goldie back at some point. So we'll see how that goes. I thought this was a great match. What do you think of this match?
This was a good match. I totally agree with everything you said. Ring wise, Leo Rush is that dude. He's been that dude for a minute. I still remember him versus Angel Garza in NXT, and that was the freaking great match. And it's just like, what are they not? What are we not seeing? Like you said, what's the disconnect to getting him to the next level? But nonetheless, just first baby steps. Just being on television is a great yay. Let's go. Um, let's talk about this new character though. The crazy eyes and basically Leo Rush being somewhat unstable. I don't know if I like it. Why? He looks crazy. And it's like, don't get me wrong, crazy has sold in wrestling for a very long time. But the crazy that Leo is doing is like Chucky on crack, basically. And it's just like, oh, I think we all need to, what's the word? Let's go back to the drawing board on crazy Leo Rush being the problem child. I don't know if I like it. It's weird as all get out. And not in a good way. I like me some little tree monsters and some off people, but this is really off. Like you need to be in a freaking padded wall with your arms crossed, holding yourself. That's what he's coming off as right now. But I should say the match was great, and not sure we're doing with Champa just yet, but him winning, yes, let's keep doing that. Let's keep doing that, please and thank you.
Yeah, and just keep pitting him against, great competition. Yeah, I'm not totally sure what the whole new little, what feels like kind of a new shtick is with Leo Rush. I mean, he's always had kind of that swaggery attitude, which is why they call him the problem child because he's kind of cocky and whatever. But like the whole kind of like psychotic part of it is definitely a new little element. And I don't know if he's trying to, you know, I don't know if he's trying to, change his profile a little bit or whatever, but or his character a little bit. But I guess we'll see. I mean, I'm not. The jury's out. I do like Leo Rush. We'll see. Unfortunately, I don't get to see him a whole lot. So maybe the jury, maybe this is all we'll get to see of him for a while. But I hope not.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
hopefully
definitely,
not. Yeah,
it's one of those things that I need to see more of before I can make a real decision. I mean, it did catch me off guard a little bit, but again, I wasn't necessarily like, oh, I hate this. Like, I don't know. So I'm willing to kind of let it play out a little bit. Let's see. Then we had the announcement that we're going to get Omega versus Swerve 2 on Dynamite with 2 stipulations, right? Number 1 contendership
yes,
and an EVP status in the mix here. So, uh, as if you needed to put anything more on the Omega Swerve cake, right? Like, I mean,
that
it's
part.
Omega and
Yeah,
Swerve. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 guys right at the moment that are like, Omega, Swerve, Will Osprey, and maybe that's it. At the moment where like you could say like, I mean, Kyle Fletcher might be getting himself close to there, but
almost.
like,
Yeah,
maybe the Takeshita's, but like there's a lot of people right below that stage, but there's like 3 or 4 guys right at that very top that it's like every time they have a match, and especially if it's together, it's going to be insanely amazing. So, I have no doubt that, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes, but I was excited to hear that. I don't necessarily think you need the stipulations on top of it, but it is what it is. And then we had the main event of the hour-long Slam Dunk episode, which was the Don Callis family, Takeshita, Josh Alexander, and El Clone versus the Trio's champions, Jet, Speed, and Mystico. Um, I thought this was solid. The only complaint I have about this is that as much as I'm sure it's amazing and it has great meaning and it's whatever, the song that Jet Speed and Mystico come out to is not It needs to be more. I can't do like that slow, like super old. Just like it needs to be ramped up intensity
Yeah,
and
yeah,
pumped up. Like this is a
yeah,
slow
yeah.
jam. Like I'm sure it's got a lot of meaning to Mystico. Probably it's probably some who knows. You know what I'm saying? And it's great that he gets to have the song, but it's like I need more on the intro. It's not, it doesn't really get me excited. So, nonetheless, solid match. Anytime I get to see Josh Alexander to catch it, I'm happy. El Clone is good because as was Hologram. So, and Collision is the hologram show. So, um, you know, he always looks good. Jet Speed and Mystico did get the win to remain the trio's champions, which I like. I still, even though I feel like Josh Alexander has been getting more singles matches and been getting more kind of, shine with the Don Callis family and he's a little bit more upfront. I still want more for him ultimately. And I don't know exactly what that means. I want him with a belt for a while. I want to, something more for him. But beyond that, I think it's fine. So I thought this was a solid episode of Collision. I do like the hour episode. I'm going to give this I'll give it like a B minus. Yeah, wasn't anything egregious, but there was nothing great per se. I thought it was a solid B level Collision show. So I'm gonna give it a B minus. What about you?
Um,
Main event and grade for the show.
we're in the same boat. Uh, so I was gonna put. I was gonna So I wasn't sure what we were doing with with last week's collision, right? But I did watch Saturday and Sundays, and together they were a good show. The reason why they were separated, March Madness, like you said, not sure if we're gonna do this after March Madness, but definitely they capitalized on the tournament, so that was good on y'all. Uh, but yeah, same boat. I say B minus. Yeah, B minus. Like I said, that's egregious. Just like, hey, after these games, you're invested in some hot behind matches. Here you go. They were good, solid. Yeah.
All right, so we both gave Slam Dunk Collision from the 22nd a B minus. We're gonna switch to the next show in the week, which was AEW Dynamite. Miss Anika will take over for that, and then we'll wrap up with Collision from last night. So, Miss Anika, you want to take it away?
Hi, I'm Kanika. I'm Anika, and this was Dynamite from
March
March
25th.
25th. March 25th. All right, this is the second week after Revolution, and like we said beginning, it was announced on Collision. We are doing Kenny Omega versus Swerve, and this was the first match of the show, and very much a polarizing topic because where the freak were y'all gonna go after this match? Like honestly, that was a big problem. Now, to my knowledge, the reason why they did it is because I didn't know this. So Netflix is just trying to buy all the freaking sports. That Wednesday was the pitch day of baseball, and Netflix was showing it, and it was Yankee Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why they're like, okay, to rival the first pitch of the baseball season, let's do this match first. And that I'll understand. Think about more about it later, but I'll just say this: I appreciate that, but if you're going to do that, you need a main event equally as good. I don't mind it being the first match, but you need a main event equally as good. So that was my 2 cents. But nevertheless, so like you said, this match popped off. We said all stipulations, which no offense, I I, I forgot. It's like the whole EV, the power of the EV of being EVP. I didn't believe that was in jeopardy. That's just me. That's just I'm like so when Swerve was saying it last week, it flapped my mind. I'm like, oh okay, fine, okay, cool. Because no offense, I didn't believe that was happening. And then the whole number contendership, the stipulations to be number contender for the belt feels like it's been really unsure for the past couple of weeks. Like maybe it's just me, but it really is like okay. So straight up, because the whole Brody versus yeah it was some match, and then we found out whoever won. Yeah. Swerve versus Brody King was a number contendership match. I'm like, y'all added that last. Y'all know y'all did not add that when it came on Revolution. So why? So like, stop spinning my ear, tell me that's free. So that's why the whole stipulations were not glued in my mind as they should become. Like we just putting the staple. We just putting that staple on any doggone match as of right now. Nonetheless, match wise, this was really awesome. Of course, it's Swerve and Kenny by God Omega. So it's like very surprising on regular television. Honestly, I thought we would have done this on Dynasty, maybe Double or Nothing. But for you just to do it on free TV, okay, cool. That's on y'all. Hey, you do you, boo. I said it was great. Comparing it to the last time they did it, their match on television, I'm like, y'all just don't like doing. Y'all didn't think this rivalry was good enough for pay per view. I don't understand. But like, it wasn't like the first one was still better, but this was a good follow up. We're just like, oh, I still enjoyed this. The ending really, it really revved it up. It's a very fine line between how many near falls and how many some finishers you can take where it don't go crazy. I don't think this went crazy. I think thankfully because he didn't do his one count kick out thing, it made it more like okay, it's still digestible. But 1, 2, 3, Kenny Omega wins, and he is now the number one contender for NJF's title at Dynasty in Canada. Now and that is Kenny's hometown. So that I think maybe that's the reason why they didn't do Swerve versus Kenny in Canada. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But two questions: how you like the match, and what are your odds that Kenny might win at Dynasty? Because I'm like it's Canada, and Kenny is the god of professional wrestling. Do you like how like the percentage is nothing to wait for? Do you think they changed the belt at Dynasty? Your thoughts?
They very well could. I mean, like, it's at least 50-50, right? I mean, it's Kenny Omega,
Yeah.
so you like I mean, anytime he's in a match, he's one of those guys where anytime you have him lose, it's difficult to figure out how you're gonna do that, right? And don't get me wrong,
Yes.
MJF is another great wrestler, so him losing to MJF is fine, and MJF is a cheater, so MJF cheating to get the win is very highly likely. That's why I'll give MJF a slightly higher percentage, probably, just because I
Yeah.
could see that. But I mean, I could definitely see Tony wanting to put the belt on Kenny Omega in Canada. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it'd be a great, as much as I love Kenny, I think his best days are behind him. And I don't know, I'm not saying he's close to retirement, but I don't know how much longer he's going to want to do what he does or can do what he does at the level he does it at. So putting the belt on him and giving him maybe potentially one more solid run with it, I'm here for that. All for that before, whatever, not necessarily off into the sunset, but can slow down a little maybe and be in the non-title picture and do other things, whatever that might be, right? But like, so no, and so I'm here for that. Regarding putting these matches on TV, that's one of the things that I like about AEW. I feel like they give us a good mishmash of what I would call pay-per-view matches a lot on TV, and I think that
Yeah.
that's a symptom simply of having such a great roster too, right? Like, I mean, when you put guys together, a lot of times there's a lot of matches that just feel like they're pay-per-view worthy, whether they're on TV or pay-per-view. So, and again, I don't have a problem with that. For a long time, I was, bitter and railed against, WWE for keeping all of their best matches for pay per view. You know what I mean? Like, come on, but I get it. And at the same time, as a fan that can't afford pay per view all the time, it sucks, right? So, like,
Yeah.
um, it's nice to still get those on free TV. The match itself, I think it was solid. I don't think it was as good as the first one. I think the first one was better. I kept being thrown off because I feel like the announcers made it an issue to stress upon how we're going to be here as long as this match lasts. It could go an hour. We're going to
Yeah.
be here as long as, and it only ended up like 17 minutes, which is fine. That's a perfectly fine time for a match. But it's like,
Yeah.
you made it sound like it was going to be the whole 2 hour Dynamite. Like, so, and it is what it is, but the match itself was fine. These two guys are solid wrestlers. There's nothing wrong with it. It could have gone a little longer for me, just in general, just because these two are so, they're Omega and Swerve. But Omega getting the win makes sense, and I could definitely see him winning the title in Canada. So I liked all this. I thought this was very solid. This for me was the best part of a down Dynamite, in my opinion.
Understood. And so let's keep the ball rolling. That was the first section of Dynamite. The next one is a backstage promo vignette. Sorry, Will Ospreay was backstage and was talking about his feud with Moxley, and basically he's like, "How dare you try to cripple me in front of my countrymen, in front of my wife, in front of my kid? Like, bro, what was even the point of doing that?" And so now I'm going to cripple you like you crippled me, and he pointed towards his neck. And he's like, "So AEW Dynasty, I'm coming for you." Beep. And it's like, okay. Like listen. Sometimes cuss words are necessary. Sometimes they just cherry on top. It was a cherry on top. You got to convey your frustrations, and the cuss word convey the frustration, anger, and piss offtivity of Will Ospreay, as you should, because it was you got your neck broke, basically. So in kayfabe. So Will Ospreay versus Moxley, on paper, love it. I just don't like that we were changing Moxley into this tweener where he wasn't a good guy or a bad guy. He was just a man who loves wrestling, whoever gets in your way, what have you. But now you have to be straight up a bad guy because it's Will Ospreay, like it's Will Ospreay. Like what could Moxley possibly tell Will that would justify him doing that at Blood and Guts, right? So it's like this has to be a straight up maybe for the field match. And it's like, we did all that good work with the C2 and Takeshita, and it's just like now we're just back to square one. I think SPG said it right. If we were going to do Moxley versus Osprey, why did Moxley beat Takeshita? Like, what was the point of what was the point of that? And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think this match is gonna be for the C2 title. So it's like, what are we doing? And so besides, so promo wise, this was great, but rivalry wise, I am not into it just yet. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little interesting. I mean, I think they could work this a couple ways. Like, Moxley, who's trying to not turn over a new leaf, but kind of had maybe a slight change of heart, as opposed to the Grinch who heart grows 3 times bigger, his heart grew like 1 time bigger a little bit, right? For a minute. And so you can play it as, well, now, I try to get out and they pull me back in. I can't help but be a heel because I've got I've got Osprey chomping at and all he remembers me is the guy that took him out, right? So I can't, they're forcing me to be this way. The other thing they could do, is just, he could essentially try to. He's not going to, but he could essentially try to apologize for Will Ospreay. But I don't like that, or apologize to Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
But I don't like that, and that's not Moxley. I mean, even if you're not going to be a heel, he's not going to apologize, right? So, I mean, I think this is the best
Right.
way to do it. I mean, unfortunately, the match itself should be great. We'll see what ends up happening and what comes of it. When you pit against, two guys that's essentially, at Moxley still essentially at the top of his game, and Will Ospreay is, in the beginning of his prime for all intents and purposes. It should be amazing. So I'm here for it. I'm here, honestly. The match that excites me more is Pac and Ospreay before
Yeah.
Moxley, just because Pac and Ospreay can really. I think Pac has the ability to kick it more into like a higher gear with Osprey than I think Moxley
Mm-hmm.
does as far as physical exertion and physicality. So I'm more excited for that match, but I'm excited for both these. But yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of this. Yeah, I mean, Osprey's way more fired up at the moment than Moxley is, and like it's almost kind of like I'm mad at you. And Moxley's like, well, I'm over it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the matter? You know, like, so what? You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Which kind of deflates a little bit of Osprey's anger to a certain extent. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, which I think is what he wants to do. Kind of downplay it. Moxley wants to downplay Osprey a little bit, and so he doesn't get too overhyped. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Both matches are going to be fun. Pac and Moxley. So I'm just happy to have Will Ospreay back in general, and I like the little pop of the little vulgarity at the end, the profanity at the end. I mean, I don't know that it's a little wasted maybe on the Moxley who doesn't seem to care, but I liked it. I thought it was fun. So Hassan is in the house saying what's up. He says Happy Palm Sunday.
Happy
How's it
Palm
going,
Sunday.
Hassan?
Hello, darling. All right. So next up, we are in Minnesota, and Moxley and the Death Riders are a wrestling team. So here come the trios match of Moxley, Daniel Garcia, and Claudio versus the Minnesota hometown of Top Flight and Zaria Still. Yes, he joined the team when old girl got hurt. Lila
Layla
Gray.
Gray? Yeah.
Layla Gray. I don't like that, but okay. It's like, oh, you damage good. Bow. That's what it feels like to my heart, but it is what it is. Match wise though, this was really good. This was very high octane. The crowd definitely helped with hyping this match up more than I don't say what it should be, but we haven't seen Top Flight or Dynamite for a minute. That's definitely the only reason why I'm like, oh, okay, oh y'all getting crunk for it. Even though I don't like what they did with my gray girl, I do appreciate that Steel versus Marina Shafir was really a good one-on-one match. Like probably one of the better ones that she has had. So I can't even say, oh, it was I. No, no, no. Them going against each other was really, really good. But suffice it to say, with a it's called a dragon tamer. What Dan Garcia does? Basically, a
Yeah.
sharpshooter with a curve stump. With a curve stump. with a curve stump. 1, 2, 3. Death Riders beats Top Flight and Zaria Stills. Any thoughts on the match?
It's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with Death Riders versus, Skyflight, Top Flight, whatever we're calling them. I know with Scorpio Sky, we're calling them Skyflight. Here's my problem with it. It doesn't feel like this should be on Dynamite. This feels like this is more of a
Yeah.
collision match. That being said, if you want Collision to be as equal to Dynamite, then I don't know where this match gets play. I like Private Party, and Zeta Steel's fine. And I thought Marina Shafir and Zeta Steel had a very good match when they were wrestling together. I think Marina Shafir has stepped it up quite a bit in the last month or so. She had that really good match at Revolution, which is her best singles match to date. I think it was Revolution. And then she had this
Yeah.
spot with Zeta Steel, which is very good. So she seems to be finally putting together, at least in my opinion, putting together what I was able to see on the independent scene now here in AEW and kind of show the world actually that she's a very solid wrestler. So I like
Mhm.
that. Top flight. I mean, the Death Riders should get the win here. I don't think that was ever in question. It felt like a filler match, and I don't want filler on my AEW Dynamite shows. I mean, Dynamite doesn't need fillers. And no offense to Private Party or Zeta Steel, I don't know.
Top Flight. Top Flight.
I'm sorry, I meant Top Flight. I keep saying Private Party. I
Yeah.
meant Top Flight. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I guess when you add Moxley into it, at least you give us a main event guy in the match. But
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Garcia, and I know he's kind of the new thing for the Death Riders, but he's also kind of the low guy on the totem pole for the Death Riders to a certain extent. I mean, he's below Claudio for me. He's below Pac for me. He's right there with Wheeler Yuta, I think, essentially kind of the two guys at the bottom. I mean, even Marina's kind of above him at this point. So, I mean, it is what it is. For a Dynamite, I just feel like it's a little underwhelming. That's all.
I understood it. I said it just like I said, it was their hometown. They probably hyped it up way more than it probably should have. That's probably why they got the spot on Dynamite.
Sure.
Even though
Yeah.
was Collision on in Minnesota as well.
Right. I mean, don't they always do Collision right after? I mean, Dynamite, so it's got to be right.
Okay. but right after, Moxley gets the mic and he accepts Will Ospreay's challenge. And simple word, he said, "Don't let your mouth get you in trouble." And I appreciate the trying to be cool, but after what you said, yeah, we need to be more pissed off. This should be more of a blood. This needs to be more of a blood feud. It's basically you. It's like Osprey is bothering you, and you're like, fine, I'm gonna put people how to be done with it. So it's like I'm not sure how we can get Moxley hyped up. I mean, there probably are ways, but it is like I need the energy to be brought as much as Osprey bring it to boil it up to even a fraction of what it's supposed to be storyline wise. But your thoughts?
I mean, at this point, I kind of need Osprey to do something. I need Osprey to attack Moxley. I need Osprey to, during this promo, you should have had Osprey rush in and try to attack something. You need to have Osprey do something to ratchet this up and to make Moxley care more. Because clearly in this promo, Moxley's like, I could take it or leave it to a certain extent. Like, okay, yeah, you're Will Osprey, and if you want to wrestle, we'll wrestle. But like, what you're mad about, I'm way over, right? So like, it is what
Yeah,
it is, and I mean, it's fine because Moxley's a jerk, and so it fits his character. Unfortunately, it doesn't help ramp up the match at all, right? So you've got to
it
do
doesn't.
something to get Moxley, like you said, Moxley's energy up to get us more engaged in this match. Not that you should have to get us engaged in Will Ospreay versus John Moxley, because I mean, Jesus, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it's um, so yeah. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it was a solid. I mean, Pac's little part of it I thought was even better than Moxley's again, but
Yeah,
I'm more invested at this point in Pac versus Osprey than I am Moxley versus Osprey, even though Moxley versus Osprey is the payoff. So
it is. Yeah, in ring wise, it will be great. But like you said, we need to get we need to get we need to get there just a little bit better. The next match we have is Speedball Mike Bailey versus Rocky Romero for whatever reason. It lasted less than 10 minutes. It was fine. Speedball won. Thoughts?
we had essentially what I would call two filler matches to a certain extent on a Dynamite. I mean,
but but at
I
least
understand.
Moxley and Osprey have a match at Dynasty. I'm not sure what we're doing with Speedball. I'm like Speedball versus Rocky Romero. What the like that was such a out of the freaking blue. Let's just do it match if I ever seen one. I'm sorry.
And I understand that, like, the trios, NetSpeed and Mystico has been battling the Don Callis family for the trios titles. And Rocky Romero's kind of, a guy that doesn't get any TV time. And the TV time he should be getting is on Collision, right? It shouldn't be on Dynamite in the middle of the show to a certain extent. I mean, in my opinion. Nothing against Rocky Romero. I love Rocky Romero. It's just when you have the roster that you have and Dynamite is your big show, like, and like you said earlier, I get it. Like, you're up against opening night. It wasn't in Yankee Stadium. It was actually in San Francisco. But either way, it was the Giants versus
Oh
the Yankees. It was a big deal. And so
yeah,
I understand you're up against opening night. So you decide to open the show with your best match, and then you top it off with two filler matches. Like, if you're trying to compete with baseball, why are you not trying to make it the best Dynamite of the year as opposed to giving us two filler
the
matches in the
whole
middle
thing. Yeah,
after giving us, what in theory, even though it didn't come out that way on paper, could have been a match of the year candidate between Omega and Swerve if it had come off right. It didn't necessarily work out that way for me. I didn't see it as that when it was over and done with, but on paper it could have been,
yeah,
right? So it's weird to, like,
yeah.
you're trying to make this a special Dynamite and then you give us these two matches, and it was a very talk heavy Dynamite too. I don't know if you're going to get to it, but I think already in order we've skipped over the whole Darby Allin backstory promo video deal. I don't know when you were, but we had that little retrospective on
Okay,
Darby Allin's career.
yeah. No. I was. It was gonna happen. I didn't think it happened yet. If it did happen already,
Okay.
we'll do it right after this. But yeah, I didn't think it happened yet. Yeah,
I don't remember exactly when it happened, but I just remember this being a very talk heavy Dynamite on top of having basically a couple filler matches. So, yeah, I mean, Rocky Romero's fine, but I don't really have anything to say about this other than why is this match here? Mike Bailey versus Rocky Romero was fine. I just don't know why it's here on a Dynamite when you're trying to, in theory, I guess, compete with Netflix and opening night of baseball. The whole thing was weird, but
Yeah, definitely so. So this was hilarious. The whole so like I said, talk heavy. Most of it came from commentary trying to tell us why the main event was the main event. Going into it, not sure when it happened. We're just going to say it now. Darby did have a retrospective video package of his career, him tagging with Sting, him with the whole fire, the whole going against the gum against Death Rider, all the good things. And the main event is going to be Darby versus Rouge. Fine. And like I said, commentary was just they're doing their darndest. This is why it's the main event because there's no DQ. Anything can happen. The Don Callis family has put in their hit. They put their bids in with NJL, so that's why they're going to try to take Darby out. Craziness will ensue. I'm like, y'all are trying the most. All y'all really could have done was just move the first match to the main event or give me someone besides Rouge to face Darby Allin. No offense. No offense. And like I said, it's a whole Don Callis family. It's very like Kenny Omega versus Swerve are one of your top two main eventers. But anything that like if we're going to try to get close to that to the main event, and your story is the Don Callis family taking out Darby for MJF, put Fletcher in there, put Takeshita in there, put Okada in there. If you're going to make it a main event, sorry, not Rouge. I love Rouge. In ring wise, Rouge is that dude. But Rouge has not been on television long enough to be just a main event where it'll be hyped up to the levels you're trying to hype it up. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah. Any thoughts on the video package and Darby versus Rouge being the main event?
I mean, again, it doesn't feel like it's a Dynamite main event. No disrespect to Darby and no disrespect to Rouge. I like them both. But it doesn't feel like a main event. And the match itself, we'll get to it. The match itself was great. I thought it was very good. It still doesn't feel like a Dynamite main event on a big show. Like you said, if you want to open with this, that's fine. This would be a fine match to open with and end with Swerve and Omega. That's fine. The bigger issue for me on this is that it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, right? I mean, I don't even think Rouge is a member of the Don Callis family. Isn't he a member of LFI? So, I mean, even if you're, the whole thing is very weird, right? Like, Rouge hasn't been around at all, and LFI doesn't really do anything. So, like, why? I mean, I understand Rouge is a great wrestler in the ring, and I understand him and Darby have good chemistry. Like I said, the match is fine. It just doesn't make any sense. Make it make some sense. Like, there are a lot of guys Darby could have matches against that make sense and could justify potentially being the main event. This is not one of them. So I don't. It's a weird placement, but the retrospect, I guess, is fine. Here's the thing. I feel like we do this a lot with Darby, not like full career retrospectives, but I feel like we have like these videos where like we show like things about Darby, and it's like it feels like it's kind of played out to a certain extent. Not this major retrospect, but I feel we've been there, done that with him in these video packages before. His uncle wrecking the car, and him, all these it's just like we've been here. Like I don't know. Like I really like Darby Allin. I think his heart is uncontainable. I think his enjoyment and enthusiasm for wrestling is unmatched, and his ability in the ring to give you everything he has every time he's in there is insane. There's almost nobody else quite like that. That being said, I almost feel like Darby Allin needs some sort of a character rehabilitation to a certain extent. I feel like it's gotten a hair stale almost, or he needs to be pushed more. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's doing so many other things in his life, but it feels like he's plateaued a little bit in AEW. Like, when was the last time Darby Allin had a belt in any way, shape, or form, or was in what I would call a high-profile title match for something, right? And this is one of your.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't necessarily classified as a pillar, but like he's one of your pillars. Like, he's been around since the beginning. He's one of your mainstays. He's one of the guys You just put him on the Dynamite main event against Roosh. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, you obviously think highly of the guy. I feel like he's plateaued a little bit for me. I feel like I need some sort of revitalization of Darby Allin to a certain extent.
To further on that note, I think the reason why they're doing video packages is to keep him relevant. Like you said, he was doing a lot of stuff, and out of all the four pillars, it is still, Maxwell has exceeded all of them. Sorry, not sorry. But the next one is Darby, and I think they're trying to get him back to being close to the main event status. Hence, all of video packages. But he just had to climb that freaking mountain. It's tough to say because like we don't want to prevent anybody from doing what they want to do, but you just had to climb that freaking mountain. We were trying to do a storyline which might have potentially put the belt on you. You might potentially have been Darby beating Moxley for that belt, but you had to climb the freaking mountain. You had to pivot, and now you said now we're trying to work. We're trying to work it. We're trying to work you back to the main event picture, and that's going to take a minute. It's going to take a big feud. I'm not sure who he has to face where it feels seamless and right, but they're trying. I'll say that they're definitely trying to keep uh Darby in the top tier, mid level, upper level card. All right, and so next, top of the hour, we have our AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF going towards the ring, uh, and he is, trying out his soliloquies about how he beat Hangman at Revolution. He hanged the hanger, and then all the catchphrases, cause nobody on the level of the double. I love he said I'm a double dipping this. 'Cause I feel like it because I'm better than you and you know it. But then he freezes when you hear I hear the bell cry. I hear the bell cry. I hear the bell cry. Are you ready to go? I'm sorry. Even when Kenny came back with a new theme song, all I heard was Battle Cry. I'm not sure what this is playing, but Battle Cry is still playing in my mind. That's his theme song. That's your why you trying to change it, but it is what it is. So he comes out after having a nearly 20-minute match to confront MJF. He's just like, well, you call yourself the devil, but people call me the god of god of pro wrestling. So what is a devil to a god? And at Dynasty, I'm going to take your AEW World Heavyweight Championship. But hey, all considered, I can't wait to see you in the ring. Handshake. Uh, MJF refused the handshake, and Kenny was like, class act. But I will say, but through our catchphrases, I will bid you all adieu, mwah, and good night, bang. This is It's funny because another reason that they said they did Kenny versus Swerve first is because they can like, okay, let's do the whole face off at after he wins. This is like, do you really need on the same show? Number one. Number two, after a 20-minute match, how much energy do you think a person has to do a hot promo? Number three, Ken is not good at promos. Can we just address this? Like I was saying in chat, I miss blue hair cocaine Kenny that was champion the panorama. When he had the blue hair and he was a villain and he was just all energy and all gas, no brakes, and we thought he was doing that blue sugar allegedly, but he wasn't. He was just being a really crazy out villain. I miss that. I will ask you because I am not a Kenny Omega. I didn't know about Kenny Omega until AEW. Was he a better heel than he was a babyface? It feels like he was because the babyface promo has not been. It has been a good string of them. It was the one where we came right back after his stomach issues, but that's probably the only one. That's probably the only one. And like I said, it doesn't help. He does this after a 20-minute match. So it was fine. We're officially doing this at Dynasty. Again, very surprised we're doing this so early. Because talked about it earlier about is Kenny going to beat MJF? It is a high probability, but with that, I'm not ready for MJF to lose his title just yet. I honestly, I'm not ready for that. As of right now, just storyline wise, there's still a lot of prospects for MJF I want to see before we have Kenny have the belt, and that's just me. If it was up to me, I would keep MJF up until All In. That's I'm not ready for MJF to lose the belt just yet. But it is Canada, and it's Kenny, so we'll see what happens. So your thoughts on this in ring segment?
I don't have a whole lot of experience with Kenny prior to AEW either. I do have some, a little bit. And I think belt collector heel Kenny is definitely a better sweet spot in my opinion than kind of the face Kenny Omega, just because he's one of those unique guys who I think is a truly really good guy in real life, but plays that swarmy role better than he does just kind of be himself, right? Like in real life, he's a super great guy. Everything I've heard about Omega is he's a super great guy, but he plays that swarmy role much better than he seems to do the face good guy stuff. So I'm more here for heel Omega. Um, and yeah, like as much as MJF is so good at his job that, the goal is everyone wants, he's got to lose that title because he's such a terrible person. That's exactly what you want, right? And the
Yeah,
problem with putting the belt on Omega at the moment is he's a face, and there's really nobody that's knocking on his door per se to want to
yeah,
challenge him. There's nobody that's lined up that I'm like, oh my God, put the belt on Omega so we can have this match. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
it's
yeah,
not there isn't anything. Whereas with MJF, because he's pissed everybody off, as he should, everybody wants a piece of him. All the best want a piece of him, and there's a reason for it. He's cheated them all. He's talked shit to them all. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's
yeah,
way more meat on the bone with MJF as champion. And that's not taking anything away from Kenny Omega at all. And I want to see another run with Kenny Omega as world champion at some point. And it very
definitely.
well could be now. This is not necessarily the Omega that I want to win the belt. And this is the MJF I want to have the belt for the moment, taunting everybody else with the belt. It works great. So as much as MJF is a terrible human being and you're ready for him to lose the belt, that's exactly why he should have it. Not forever, but that's why he should have it, because he has such a big target on him that it makes it fun, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean the promos itself were fine. I agree with you. It's tough to expect. First of all, as good a promo as Omega is, there's still levels to this, and he's not on MJF's level promo wise, unfortunately. So you're already starting
fortunately.
from a slight disadvantage, and then you got him out there after he already gave a bunch of energy out earlier. And so, yeah, I mean, it was fine, but I think MJF definitely shined a little bit more here than Omega, and I don't know that that was the intention per se, but for me, that's how it came off.
Most definitely. Okay. And so next we did confirm that next week the contract signing. I'm like, listen, MJF, I feel like some of these ideas are his, and it's like y'all need to cut some of his ideas short. Sometimes he be like that one extra segment. We didn't need this. We didn't need these things. We really could have done the contract signing and the face to face next week. We didn't have to do it this week. That's just me. And like I said, give Kenny 1 week to actually gather his thoughts and him not being tired. Like so he at least a more decent promo, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Next promo is one of the very top every time, right? Backstage with Renee Paquette and our beautiful Canadian tag team of Christian and Adam Copeland. They did show a replay of, not sure when it was pay-per-view, but FTR power driving Beth into the ring, and Christian starts off talking about, listen, FTR, you're the most egregious thing to our family. Where you power drive best Phoenix into the ring. But you did was even more egregious. Is that you nearly paralyzed me and paralyzed me into the ring. I love Christian. I'm lucky pissed that we had to wait for Adam Copeland to come back to get Christian. I'm sorry. He could have done some stuff by himself. I'm not saying do a whole be like Moxley and wrestle every week, but we could have found somebody for him to face. At least one person. I'm really mad that we had to wait for Adam Copeland to come back to get Christian back. But he is back. I'm very excited. But after he said that, he walks away, and Copeland just like, hey, oh. Uh, but it's like, but FTR, come here. Like you said, you did almost injure my wife, but thankfully she's better now, and because she is, we're gonna get revenge. We know what's gonna hurt you worse is them if we taking them tag team titles off your waist. Come here, man. I want you to see my face. And so after, and like we're gonna do you one better worse. It's like after this, you won't. After we face each other, you won't just have those belts. You won't have careers, and then the whole veins and the eyes up and down the forehead, the scrunchy. Just like it was, like the whole I'm mad, wife, revenge, girl. It was a fine. It was a fine promo. I'm sorry, I enjoyed Christian better because he is all of our buttholes. Uh, but again, this was a better promo, and it was still enjoyable. That's the point across. Your thoughts?
This was fine for what it is. I mean, obviously, I'm invested in seeing Edge and Christian again. I'm just going to say what their names are just because that's how I see them. So I'm invested in seeing Edge and Christian versus FTR. It's going to be fun. That being said, even though FTR is still considered and W or AEW is pushing them this way, to be one of the premier tag teams in the world, and obviously they're tag team champions at the moment. They're still, again, I think their best days are probably a little behind them. Definitely Edge and Christian's best days are behind them. That being said, I still want to see this match, so I'm here for that. Yeah, I mean, this was classic Adam Copeland. This is a promo he's been doing for years. He's always done this kind of psycho, pull at my hair, look crazy promo. That's what he does, talk quiet and then try to be all, intense and intimidating. I think that we've seen, and I've always said this, I think WWE, for whatever reason, had a way more vested interest in Edge than they did in Christian. But I think Christian's proved that he's the better wrestler, the better promo. And, for what it's worth, just, the better whatever of the two. So that's taking nothing away from Copeland. I think that just shows you how great Christian is. Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I don't know how injured either of them was or both of them were, but the idea that we had
Yeah,
to have wait for Copeland to come back to bring Christian back, if that was what they were waiting for, is a little frustrating because Christian has been doing so good or was doing so great on his own. And we don't need Copeland for Christian, right? So,
yeah,
but that being said, them coming back together at the moment as, you know, Cope and Cage, I guess, has a lot of meat on the bone because everyone wants to see Edge and Christian again at least one more time. So I can kind of understand why they waited. But that being said, I miss Christian and just bring him back as soon as you can. So
yes, please.
I don't care about Copeland, but I care about Christian.
More. Agreed. All right, then after that, we have an in live segment with FTR right afterward. So with Luckily Hathaway, catching on the mic, and during Copeland's promo, he was like, "How could you break this friendship? Because this has been we've been more like family. Your family been over my house. You've eaten our food. I when you were just starting out, I looked at your tapes. I helped you get into the business. Blah 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 blah." And Cash was like, "Yeah, you haven't got into the business." And I surpassed you. And he's like, well, and basically to make, the tales of it is, we were not going to be riding the coattails of your retirement act. We are the best tag teams of the whole world, and you just wanted us to ride your coattails to retirement, and we weren't going to do that. And then, not FTR, but Dax get on the mic, and Dax is just so, and so he's like, you trying to end us? We're going to end you before you even get the stuff going. And so, like I said, this was a better for me because both of them were good. This was a better promo than Christian and Adam Copeland. Uh, I was mad at Minnesota. 'Cause I'm like, y'all are not react. Like at first, like when Jack had the mic, that's when they get revved it up. But I'm like, when Cash had, I'm like, I need y'all to react better because he's not sucking. Y'all are just not reacting how I want you to react. I needed more from y'all. But this was a good. This is a good promo nonetheless. Your thoughts?
I mean, I like this. I like this little. I mean, clearly, this is these go hand in hand, right? So you had Edge and Christian or Hope and Cage talking in a video package, and then FTR got tired of the video and came out and kind of interrupted the show, right? So these go hand in hand,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna compare these just because it was a talk heavy show, and these are both big matches that are upcoming. I like this segment and this promo segment better than that MJF Omega promo match setup segment.
Yeah.
I thought this was better. Obviously, I love Christian Cage, so seeing him in the beginning of this is great. And then Dax is great. He's great because he says everything that makes you want to hate him, and that's exactly what he's supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
It's not go away heat. It's that perfect heel heat, right? So like he's in his bag at the moment. And Stokely always, he's always magic on the mic. So as far as talking goes, I thought this was much better than the MJF Omega stuff. And I'm here for this match too. Again, it's a little past its prime probably, but it still holds excitement for me because of the nostalgia of having Edge and Christian back together again, against potentially, and arguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So one of the greatest tag teams of all time against one of the greatest tag teams of all time, right? So in that regard, I mean, it is a bit of a dream match, right? And one that you probably thought you might never get. So even though it's interesting to me because even though like FTR is who they are and I have no problem giving them the respect they have, it feels to me like even though they didn't, there's almost a sense of coming out of nowhere to a certain extent. Like the revival in WWE is not the FTR we know today. Like they were okay,
Yeah.
but like they were not the greatest tag team on the planet, right? And now they're the greatest tag team on the planet. And I understand that they've
Yeah.
earned that through the independence after that and all that stuff and all the stuff they've done on AEW. It's just kind of interesting, right? It's like they went the Young Bucks. I always knew is they always were like this, and then it felt like the revival was like this kind of B team. And all of a sudden was like, oh my God, they're 5-star FTR. You know what I mean? It's like, well, wait a second. Weren't they just the revival and like getting no play on
Yeah.
WWE? Like, so I thought that, but it is what it is, right? That being said, I'm still here for the match. I think the match should be fun, and I like this promo segment better than MJF versus or MJF Omega. So
Definitely. All right. And so next we have another. So right when they were leaving, the OC and Roderick Strong are coming up the ramp for their match, and it was a little bit of a shoving contest. FTR shoved OC down. I don't want that. No, no, no. Keep them away. Keep them separate. No, I love OC and Roderick, but we need to do something different. No, 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 no. I don't want this match. No. But next we got OC and Roderick Strong versus the dog. Can't say war dogs in Japan. The dogs, Connors and David Finley. The dogs won. Cool. Don't matter. It just like y'all got beat like 5 times, but you finally won a match, and then the pay-per-view where they're supposed to win, you lost. So I don't understand why we had this match to begin with. It's stupid. Let it go. We have plummeled this rivalry to the ground. More so y'all's fault because y'all kept letting some form of OC and conglomeration keep beat or Darby keep beating the dogs. The new team coming out of New Japan or the new people on the television, it's like, oh, now we're getting a win. Well, no, it's too late. I'm not taking this team seriously right now. Like especially, now you want to be OC right now. Go someplace. Please think you just gone somewhere. Like, just make those dang sense dumb behind match. This is pissed me off. I'm glad they won. I am. But like I said, you like after losing 4 times, like it don't matter. in my opinion. But your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm glad that they finally won a match. I mean, it's hard to make people feel like they're a big deal and when they lose, right? So, and I appreciate Roderick Strong. I appreciate Orange Cassidy. We know what they are. We know how we know how WWE, we know how AEW books them. We know roughly where their positioning is in the AEW hierarchy. We don't know yet what David Finlay and Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd's ceiling looks like. We don't know what they're going to be ultimately booked like. And so far, it hasn't been all that great, which is unfortunate because I think it has the ability to be a really solid team and faction. Like, I mean, the three of them together are amazing, in my opinion, and I think they deserve probably more. So I'm glad they finally got the win, but I think they really need to turn it up with them and let them actually have some wins over some, maybe some solid trios wins and whatever, but they need to do something if they want us to look at them and think these are viable candidates for anything and just a good solid team, then they need to do more to tell us that, essentially. I mean, to show us that beating Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy is fine, but again, we know what they are. And yeah, I mean, like you said, they've run this into the ground to a certain extent, right? And so yeah, I mean, okay, because it is what it is. But I'm ready for them to move on and do something else, right? The dogs need to move on and do something else. They should be like an invasion faction, in my opinion. Like they should be just attacking anybody and everybody. You know what I mean? Like they should just be.
Do whatever the freak
So
you
and
want. Yes.
that's my opinion. But I guess that's not what Tony Khan wants. So that's why he, is the booker and I'm not, right? So
Sure. All right, so next we get a the Divine Dominion, aka Megan Bane and old girl that just came in. No offense, I don't know your name yet. Go cut promo again. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. It should have Marie Spear with tagging and getting the belt. But that's just me. Cut a promo against Big Ralph. We are getting a rematch so soon again on Collision. All right. Any thoughts on this promo?
and another, that's why this episode was down. Like, I don't have a problem with any of these people in a vacuum. I just don't understand why it was so talk heavy. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't. And here's the thing, right? You just put the belts on them. You just had them take them off of these two. I don't think you're going to have them lose them again to these two right away. So why do this match right now? Like the Divine Dominion should be defending those titles against a couple teams that they can beat, like they did on the 1 hour Collision episode. I don't necessarily need to see them in squash matches, but against teams that they can beat, and then hype up this rematch for the title down the road. I mean, it feels like, unless you're
Yeah.
going to the belts, it feels like, why are we doing this match 2 weeks after they've just won those belts, right? I don't know. I mean, it is what it
Yeah.
is. This is something wrestling does a lot, right? You've got your automatic rematch clause to a certain extent, and you get it right away, and then you lose again. Very rarely do you lose your title, get your rematch, and then win your title back right away. I mean, it almost never happens.
Yeah.
So it's a little cliche and it's a little unimaginative. It's a little unimaginative and lacks a little originality. But okay. I guess that's what we're doing.
Tip. Another promo. We have this is one of the better ones though. Kyle Fletcher backstage talking about the partnership between John Kyle's family and MJF, and openly saying how annoyed he is with this arrangement. He's like, I don't know why we trying to be MJF Hitchman. We really trying to bring that title home. 2026, I was undefeated basically, and I think he's right. I feel like it. Maybe one or two got stepped in there, but basically he was undefeated. I appreciate that. It's like listen, in his mind, like listen, we gonna go with what the plan is right now, but I'm making my I want that title, and I like that, especially with Kyle Fletcher, who should be going for it sooner rather than later. But then he brings in Takeshita, and he's like basically like, look, bruh, I'm sorry. I know you feel some type of way with me and Okada being friends, but just know we're cool too, man. I would never abandon you as well. We tight like that. And him and Okada hug. I don't sorry, Takeshita. Him and Takeshita hug. I don't like what they're doing with Takeshita. What the freak are we doing with Takeshita? We have been what's the word? Dragging Okada with Takeshita out to Doug on long, please and thank you, and just now. Like no, like no offense, but we have gone beyond the point of okay, we still want to see it, but our care about this rivalry has gone down, especially the cats that just I don't say being bullied, but I need you to hit somebody. It's just like literally people are telling you what the freak to do, and you're just complying with this dumb behind group, and you are probably the best wrestler out of all of them, basically. So I don't like what they're doing with that, but I do appreciate Kyle Fletcher. Like I'm not about to do NJS bidding for so long. You better watch your back. I'm going for that time. I do appreciate that. Your thoughts on this promo?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, a good family member is, friends with all the people in the family, right? So Kyle Fletcher being friends with Okada and having Proto Okada and then being friends with Ketchum and having Proto Shida is fine to a certain extent. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm not saying they can't get it back and can't rehype it up. But I think they've already missed the boat for me to a certain extent with Okada and Takeshita. I mean, they can probably heat it back up because it's those two. And as soon as we want it so bad that as soon as you face them off against each other, we're gonna get excited again. But for me at the moment, yeah, I mean, it's definitely taken way too long. It's cooled down. I almost don't care at the moment. It is what it is, and I'm starting to wonder if we're ever even gonna get it. Now, don't get me wrong. As a good father, Don Callis is going to do everything he can to try to keep his kids from fighting to a certain extent. So I get that, right? And this stuff with Kyle Fletcher trying to kind of play, the good guy, the whatever, helps keep everyone in line a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I get it. He doesn't want to lose to Ketchum and or Okada, as he shouldn't if you're
Yeah,
Don Callis, right? I mean, both of them are amazing. So, and you don't want them fighting either. So even though he likes to say, iron sharpens iron and he doesn't want them fighting, especially not to the point where one of them is going to leave. So he's got a vested interest in keeping them together and keeping them apart. And I think that's why the storyline is playing out the way it is. But I don't like it particularly. And I think I've definitely lost interest in Takeshita versus Okada. That being said, the
like
Kyle
this
Fletcher
one.
promo's fine.
Yeah, it's like what like sometimes just strike while the iron's hot, bro. You can't, especially when you don't have a good plan to drag it out. So this wasn't a good plan to drag it out, in my opinion. And now it's just like, all right, we're gonna do it. It'll be fine, whatever. Um, but next we have what AEW calls their double main event. I need y'all to stop acting like y'all don't know. The main event is the last match. It's not called no, it's the last match. So stop pissing in my ear and tell me that's rated, okay? But this was the our women's world heavyweight champion, Tekla facing Mina Shirakawa. It feels like Tony Storm got hurt. And they thought the next best thing was to give Marina, Mina Shirakawa all of Tony's matches. So henceforth, last week her versus Marina Shafir, and then today the Hayward Champion Chekla. I'm nah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Nah. If you would have asked me, I would have. Dang it, because you don't have it. This is what happens when you don't build up people. So I was gonna say I would have just had Tekla versus Marina Shafir, but she's not a baby. She's not a baby face. And two heels gonna at it. It could work, but then again, we don't want to switch Tekla just yet. But Tekla is on her way to being the baby face. Hence this match. Tekla is really, really good, which makes me mad because I'm like, we need to rethink her presentation because she has it. She is good in the ring and she has personality coming out the wazoo. But for some reason, just the first encounter with her, and no offense, her being with Sisters of Sin hasn't really brought out her star power. But her versus Mina was so good. One of the highlights was after she was beating down Mina, she started doing the Tony Star poses. He beat her and then going down on the ring at the ring and just keeping her heels up. It's like this chick is crazy in the best way possible. Now I will say this: Mina she's an average wrestler, but this is probably one of her better matches. I will say that. But nonetheless, Tekla has retained her championship. Sister Sins came down, celebrated, yay! But we know, Collision is not over. Fine. Like I said, we definitely just do better. We need to do better by Tekla. I'm not sure what that is, but we just need to do better. She went up against Statlander. Unfortunately, Tony got hurt, and you really can't help that. I'm like, who else can she face that can just make her feel bigger than what she is right now? I'm not sure, but we just need to find out. Maybe her versus Willow. Like, yeah, let's do her versus Willow. I don't. The thing about that is, I don't want to see Willow lose again. But as of right now, my focus is getting Tekla to a higher place on the card, and that really sucks because, like I said, I love Tekla. I love Willow. So it's just like I wish we would have had this is why you need to build other baby faces because you don't want to just keep using the same baby face to put someone else over. Like at one point in time, it's gonna be over and done with, and you're hurting your top baby face. But I love Tekla. This match was good. It was entertaining. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Mina Shirakawa, she's not Tony Storm, and unfortunately, nobody's Tony Storm, right? I mean, even if they're
Yeah,
not necessarily like, if you don't necessarily think Tony Storm is the greatest wrestler on the planet, which she is always debatable, she is still one of the more entertaining wrestlers on the planet, right? And she is very good at what she does, and she's been in her bag for a while. So her being gone is definitely a loss. Um, Tekla is really, really, really good. I'm glad that you're coming around. Um, and yeah, I mean, they do. They need more competition. The main event picture for the women's division is definitely down at the moment, which is unfortunate. I mean, Statlander being champion is fine, but for me, like, if we're talking 2020, 2021, even 2019 when AEW first started, and you're talking about the women's division. Like, I don't know that, I mean, Statlander wasn't winning the title then, right? When you had the Thunder
yeah,
Rosas and the Britt Bakers and you know what I mean? All those, whatever. So, it's definitely down at the moment. They need to do something, you know, to reinvigorate that women's division again. Mercedes is great, but she can do it alone. And yeah, I mean, the problem with the problem with the Triangle of Madness is that Tekla is way up here, and Sky Blue and Julia Hart, unfortunately, are way down here. It just is what it is. So, them. I think that what they were hoping was that she would raise them up. Unfortunately, it feels like they're dragging her down a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, this was fine. Mina Shirakawa is never going to beat Tekla for that title. They haven't booked Mina in that way. They're not going to put the belt on Mina. I like Mina, but she's limited to a certain extent. She's not Riho. She's not, Asuka. She's not Kairi Sane. She's a solid wrestler, which is fine, but she's, she could be top of the mid card, but she's not, I don't think she's main event AEW Women's World Champion, caliber at this point, or at least we haven't seen her enough yet. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, um, but this match was fine. Tekla Shine looked really good. I'm happy she won and got the win. Yeah, we need somebody. We need some sort of face to step up and actually be pushed to the point where it makes us care enough that that they want to beat Tekla. I mean, I thought it might be Jamie Hayter, but we'll see. Now she's doing her other thing with Alec Windsor with the Brawling Birds, and so I don't know. I mean, I don't. They seem very focused on the women's tag team titles at the moment, and that's because that's the new shiny toy, right? Because that's the newest title. So that seems to be where
yeah,
kind of the focus of the women's division is. So, and as a result, both the TBS title, which who has the TBS title at the moment, the TBS title
Willow.
Willow, right? I know. I was just making a point because we don't really, right? Like so,
But
and
yes,
and Tekla, it is what it is. They don't, they're not getting the push that they should as the title holders at the moment in the women's division. So
yep. All right, and then last but not least, our main event is Darby versus Roosh in a no disqualification match. Like I said, we're not gonna go through the whole rigmarole. Why did she be the main event? But it was a great match, and it was very much so entertaining. Darby was doing his Darby stuff, and Roosh was doing his Roosh stuff, which is very much so two Clyde and Card just banging. at each other. I forgot. They're like, certain people are like, just both y'all come out of this live, come out of this without any bruises. Just don't hurt each other because we probably either one of y'all should definitely be on the show next week. Darby won. Surprise, surprise. But here comes the Don Callis family to come out and beat up Darby for MJF. That's why it's main event, the Cripple Darby. Wow. But sure, the end of Dynamite. Okay, like I said, so ratings wise, they did get 700,000. That was up from the last couple of months. But in my brain, no, congratulations. Hopefully next week, because of this decision to do Kenny versus Swerve first, you keep those eyeballs. That's the thing. Like I said, I get doing Kenny versus Swerve first if you want to get the eyeballs, but you want to keep the eyeballs too. So this main event should have been as equally or at least closer to the first match. That's just me. So like, if next week they do 700,000 again, point well taken. Do your thing. But if it goes back down, what's the point? Well, what's the point? That's just me. But yeah, Dynamite rating C. C. I'm sorry, C minus. Honestly, like like the first match was so good, but after that, there was no real continuity. It was just a bunch of random stuff. Like one random stuff I forgot. It was a Speedball and Kenny doing a freaking thing backstage where Speedball said I admired him and held on to Kenny's hand too long. Okay, sure. It's like what are we doing here? I don't know. This was all like I said. It was as all over the place as last week, but we definitely need to do better. We definitely need to do better. So C minus. Your thoughts on the main event and rating on the show?
Yeah, it was a weird show because it felt like they tried to a certain extent, like with the opening match, like you said, to compete maybe against opening night on Netflix. But then after that, it's like they decided they didn't care. It was like, oh, we're going to give you one really good match, and then we don't care about the show in general after that. Because after that, it was a really bad show. Like you said, just in passing the Omega Speedball stuff, we had another Ricochet talking segment, which we seem to get every Collision, every Dynamite. It's like, I like Ricochet, but I don't need to see him talk every single episode of AEW. And
And he
this was
didn't
an
even chant
extremely
anymore.
talk-heavy episode. And I guess, again, the main event, we don't need to beat a dead horse. Love Darby Allin. I even like Roosh. I just don't think that it's the right spot for a main event. And I understand the Don Callis family stuff, like you said, is whatever, but I still don't. For me, very down Dynamite. The match itself was fine. It was fun. There was a lot of great spots. These two, as you would imagine, because neither of them cares about their well-being at all. They laid it all out on the line, and the spots were insane. So the match itself was great. I just don't, A, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. B, why is it the main event? And C, it's a Dynamite. So all of those things, yeah. I mean, this is at best a C minus. This might be a D. Like, this is a tough one. This is a really bad episode of Dynamite for me. And there was a lot of nothing where I would say agree. Well, Speedball and Kenny was egregious, but beyond that, not egregious, just down for Dynamite. Like, why are we doing this on Dynamite? Like, we don't need to. And that being said, like, I don't want to put the bad stuff on Collision either. I just don't do it at all. Like, why are we doing most of this stuff at all? So, yeah, this is. You gave it a C minus. I'll stick with you and give it a C minus. I want to kind of give it a D, but I'll give it a C minus. So, yeah, it's definitely a down episode of Collision. So I mean, of Dynamite. So, all right. With that said, we will give you one more review of Dynamite or Collision last night, which I'll just come out and say it real quick. This was everything Dynamite wasn't, in my opinion. This is the Collision Collision has been better for me in 2026, and this is the reason why. Like, they've had way better episodes, and I think they're putting more emphasis on Collision, and this was a very good episode of Collision. So I enjoyed this episode way better than I enjoyed Dynamite. That being said, it did start off, unfortunately, with a loss for the Babes of Wrath in their attempt to regain the AEW Women's World Championship, which did open the show. Harley Cameron and Willow did lose in their effort to Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. This was a solid match to open the show. This is the kind of match that's great for Collision because it's not necessarily your Dynamite, but yet it's still a big deal. So
Mm-hmm.
you get your big women stars at the moment to a certain extent, your new shiny toy, which is the AEW Women's World Championship, Tag Team Championships on full display. I don't like Megan Bayne and Lena Cross beating Willow and Harley Cameron. I think Willow and Harley Cameron are better wrestlers, and I think it's a bigger stretch. Even though Megan Bayne and Lena Cross are bigger, I think it's a bigger stretch for them to lose or to make them win consistently than it is to have Harley and Willow win consistently. Harley and Willow are better wrestlers, so them continually beating Harley and Willow is a little. I don't like that, and I find it a little hard to believe. So we'll see what ends up
Yeah.
happening next. I need a new opponent at this point for them, and not just a squash opponent. If show us that they can actually defend against somebody else besides Willow and Harley that are decent, I guess. But I thought this was fine for what it was, other than the fact that Babes of Wrath lost. What do you think of the opening match?
Nope, totally agree with you. This was a very good match. I get why we're running it back, but why we're running it back so freaking early? Like you said, running it back so early, I don't believe that that Willow and Harley are winning. That's the leverage you have when you do it so close together.
Yeah,
Uh, I do love what's her name? Lena Cross.
Lena Cross.
Lena Cross. I do think that her and Megan Bayne are good as a tag team for what I've seen. You know, uh, you know, Amazon's doing Amazon things. I do. We're in the same boat. I feel bad for Willow and Harley, and then it feels we'll talk about it later, but it does feel like this is the last time we'll see Harley and Willow, which really does suck. I get it though, like you said, Willow is TBS champ. We haven't really done anything with that, so I get why they released the belt, but why are we doing this match so soon? It's it is what it is. But it was a very much so entertaining match. A couple of times I'm just like, oh shoot, are they? No, not gonna win. Okay, fine. But it was a really good match.
Be curious to see, Willow being TBS champion. She's got stuff to do. It'll be interesting to see once they stop wrestling as a team what happens with Harley Cameron. I hope they don't just sit her in
Yes,
catering and do nothing with her. I mean, she needs to be doing stuff. So I hope
yes.
this isn't some sort of a, whatever for her. The Brawling Birds, Hemina Shirakawa's back for a fight against Tekla and the Sisters of Sin. So that's fine. I mean, I like Jamie Hayter and I like Alec Windsor, and Mina needs some friends, I guess, at the moment. So it makes sense. I mean, Jamie Hayter has been feuding with Tekla. I mean, off and on, they've been going at it, and Alex Windsor, is her friend. So it all makes sense. And I think a trios match between those guys would be fun. And I thought this was a fun promo. What do you think about this promo?
This was cool. Um, with the Brawling Birds, cool. I guess like I said, it's Nina in the group with Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter is fine. It's fine. But like I said, Tony to come back anytime soon. So we gotta face facts. We just gotta go with the flow. I do love the Brawling Birds though. They're like, we don't give a fly. I'm like, and he's like, oh shoot, like yeah, girl, you
Yeah,
better be ready to throw some hands because they don't play. This was cool.
I do like their little sign off. We don't give a flying fuck. Yeah, I mean, I like it's funny. We had what I thought was a very fun match between kind of I don't want to say the lesser known rascal, but the guy that seems to be in the ring a little bit less,
The
Myron Reed
younger,
versus MXM TV's Johnny TV, newly bald Johnny TV, which is very interesting, especially for John Morrison, who always had very flowing
yes.
hair, lots of long hair. So it's interesting to see him with the bald head. Um, you know, this match
Well, you're muted. I can't hear you. Try now.
Can you, can you hear me now?
Yep. Yep. Yes. 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 Not sure what happened, but yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I was gonna say, let's see. Um, I lost my train of thought, but I thought this was fun. I mean, I like Myron Reed. I'm a huge Myron Reed fan. I like Johnny TV, even being bald. This is one of those things that felt like it would probably normally be like a dark or elevation match. But at the same time, I'm glad that it's on Collision, and I thought it was a very solid match. And I thought it actually helped and make Collision a better episode because it's not just the same guys that you see all the time, right? We don't see Johnny TV very often. And even though Myron Reed's been here with the Rascals, he hasn't wrestled as much as Zachary Wentz or uh, for the Desmond Xavier Wesley. So getting to see Myron Reed is fun, and I thought this was a very solid match. Myron Reed did get the win with the 450, and yeah, it was fine for what it was, and
This
I enjoyed it. So, what do you think of this?
this was fun. I totally agree with you about new faces, especially with Eminem and John Morrison. I'm not sure why we haven't used them so much. They are a breath of fresh air when it comes to entertainment in wrestling. So I hope we see more of them. It is weird to see John Morrison with no hair, but you can kind of tell because this part up here was like less hairy. It's just like, oh, you definitely need to cut it. Not sure if balls apart. I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but we'll work it out for you though. We'll find something different. Myron Weed, the youngster of the Rascals, so to speak. The no, I like to just a little highlight for him. And I don't mind Rascals being a collision wise team, right? I like I would love if we just do more with them. So I love this little introduction to like not sure like Maria hasn't had like I said, he hasn't wrestled a lot, so like this little bit of a showcase for him was really good. I guess it was fun. This was just pure fun.
We had two segments that go hand in hand. We had the Death Riders talking to Private Party. They had a question. The question was, have they changed? Daniel Garcia has a question for Private Party. Have they changed? Daniel Garcia and Private Party used to be best friends, apparently. I guess Isaiah Cassidy and Daniel Garcia used to be best friends. I never really got that impression before. I always thought Daniel Garcia was best friends with 2.0, but I guess it is what it is. So I guess they used to be best friends. So yes, Private Party, have they changed? I've changed. Have you changed? I've grown. You haven't. And we're going to show you in the ring in a few minutes. And Private Party says, yeah, 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 run your mouth. We'll see what happens in the ring, essentially, blah, blah, blah. I thought the little opening promo back and forth, Daniel Garcia is getting better. I think Daniel Garcia is benefiting at the moment from being a part of the Blackpool Combat Club. I think both his wrestling and his promo skills have gotten better. And I've got to imagine that's a direct result of being more, around John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. So I'm here for all of that. You know, I, I never quite was on the Daniel Garcia boat with a lot of other people. A lot of other people were like, Daniel Garcia, and he's got such a bright future. And I was kind of like, hey, I'm starting to kind of see it a little bit more. I think it's starting to show a little bit more now. So I'm here for that. And yeah, I mean, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn didn't talk at all, basically. So Isaiah Cassidy's little promo response back was fine. I mean, I like this is why I was getting Private Party and Top Flight confused from last week because now it's
I
Private
know, I
Party this week
know.
and it was Top Flight last week. So it is what it
Yeah,
is. I mean, it's great exposure for both Top Flight and for Private Party to get matches against the Death Riders. This is your biggest faction other than the Don Callis family in wrestling, and their wrestling Private Party and Top Flight. And no disrespect to either of them, but it's yeah, I don't know, like so it's fine. Daniel Garcia and the Death Riders get the win as they should. John Moxley and Daniel Garcia beating Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, and I thought it was a solid match. So yeah, okay.
yeah. No, no, no. Definitely agree. So more so match wise, it was so good. It is great to see Private Party. More so Private Party has feel like they have I'm gonna say skipped a beat, but definitely the ring was is definitely off. and they're back to the normal speed there could have been. Like you said, I'm trying to think back. Maybe some backstage friendship with Daniel Garcia and Private Party, but I like the intent of a little bit of a backstory for this feud, right? Again, also like the whole showing Death Riders hurting Private Party when they first emerged. It's like, oh, look at y'all trying to put some context into this. Haven't said anything since then, but I do appreciate it. This match was good. I elevating teams is it really is like a how do you it really is a tightrope of how to do it, right? Yes, Pirate Party should not be beating Death Riders, but if they never face them, how they're gonna be elevated. And right now, the tag team division, we need some fresh faces. I know Pirate Party has been in for a minute, but we haven't been treating them like a top team. So this match definitely, even though they lost, they did incur some higher status. And I will hopefully see more of them on my television screen. Because I said this is a very good match. Daniel Garcia, I'm not sure what to do with him right now. Like, it really is like a just let him wrestle. That is the best part of AEW, where when in doubt, wrestle it out, and then we'll figure out the rest later. So as of right now, just let him wrestle, and hope, and we'll find a good place for him. This match is good.
We have the Demand, a very shaggy looking Toa Leona. His hair was all like blown out and he was all super enraged. He
Yeah,
was definitely feeling himself. And he's a little gravelly in the voice, a little yelly. Ricochet was talking about Kenny Omega
yeah,
and Jack Perry. A little kind of all over the place. I thought Ricochet's promo was a little kind of all over the place. He addressed several different things, and then he just kind of talked about the overall disrespect that he feels like the Demand continues to get. Why was GOA not in the? Why was he not allowed to have his boys in the Casino Gauntlet match where he lost his title to Jack Perry when everyone else had their boys in the match? Blah blah blah. Whine. Essentially, he wants Jack Perry and that title back. We're gonna get that match. And, the GOA should be shining more is the gist of this promo. So, again, Ricochet and these guys are on giving a promo every single episode of AEW at this point and have been for a while, which is fine. I mean, okay. I mean, I want a little bit more, I guess, for GOA. I don't even know exactly what that means. Maybe a tag team championship run, a good one, like a solid one with the belts, and maybe, have all three of them have belts at the same time. I thought that's what they were going to do maybe when Ricochet was the national champion. I thought maybe somehow they were going to try to put the belts on GOA and maybe have them have the gold for a minute, the whole Demand, which I think would help them a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's fine for what it is. I mean, what do you think?
I totally agree with you. Like right now, it feels like we don't know what to do with Ricochet, which is crazy. Cause like I was gonna say this about when you say Ricochet on Dynamite. I'm like, why are we getting so much Ricochet? And he's not even the champ anymore. Jack Perry is the NWA champ. So why are we getting all these promos from Ricochet? I don't mind Gates of Agony though. I would like them every yeah. I don't care. Like, yes, y'all can talk on my screen as much as you want. I kind of agree with the whole elevation of them as a tag team. Again, it's just like y'all really don't realize y'all like nobody. It's nobody. Y'all can't run back Young Bucks, FTR, Edge and Chris. Yeah, I'm coupling Christian so many times. Y'all can't keep running that back. Y'all have to elevate one of these teams, and not just they win one great match and then into oblivion. So y'all do have to work that out. But yeah, it was a promo. It was fine, except for Jason Agnew. Yeah.
We had what I would call probably, unfortunately, the lowest point of the show, and even then it wasn't terrible. Mina and the Brawling Birds, and essentially a trio squash match against three women that I'd never heard of before, and that's fine. I mean, we're hyping them up as a trio. They're going to be wrestling the Triangle of Madness, so you want to get them in and get them a win together, show that they can kind of coexist a little bit, make them look tough, and I thought that's what it did. Feel bad for the local kids that take the loss, but it is what it is. Anything you want to say about this?
Totally agree with you. Like, well, you said like it is what it is. It's one of those. necessary things you have to do to hype up a team. I love Tekla and Mike though. Tekla is so stupid. You know, but it's them doggone sisters just have to step it up. So this is very much a mixed match of sorts of Brawling Bird good with Mina, and it's like Tekla good with Sister Sin.
Right.
Uh, but like match wise, it'll be fine. Sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say after the match, Jamie Hayter started to talk a little, and then Tekla came out on the steps with the Sisters of Sin and had her things to say, and they went back and forth. And Mina ultimately challenged Tekla to. Well, Mina challenged the Triangle of Madness to a trios match. So I guess we're gonna get that maybe on Dynamite. I'm not. Did they say when they were gonna
I
do it?
think it's on Dynamite. That's what I think.
Let's see. Backstage, we've got Kyle Fletcher, and Kazuchika Okada and Mark Davis. They're fired up about Don Callis' business. They want revenge. They talk about their business relationship with MJF. Fletcher's not a fan of the arrangement. He enjoyed watching Mark Davis pile drive Darby Allin, which was fun. Um,
Yeah.
and they addressed basically all sorts of Don Callis business. They addressed Jet Speed and the trios titles and Josh Alexander. Okada talks about how he's going to get revenge for himself tonight against the Jet. I don't totally know why. I mean, he's the Continental Champion. I
I
know he lost to the Jet. I know, but like,
yeah.
yeah, so what? Like, I mean, one guy has one win over you in your illustrious career. You have the belt. Like, really? Like, you're losing sleep over a guy like tonight getting one win over you in the okay, it is what I mean. When no one beats you, I guess you have to find that kind of stretch, right? Every once in a while. So it is what it is. Okada wants his revenge against the Jet, which we get that match later tonight. So I mean, this was fine. Um, anything? Oh, they get the Rascals tonight too. Don Callis family has the
Yes.
Rascals later tonight. Anything you want to say about this promo? This was kind of all over the board. So
It was all over the board. I listen, Cal Fletcher, his star power has risen, right? Don't want to take anything away from him. Point blank, period. But having Mark Davis back there not saying anything kind of vexed me. I'm like, listen, before you were the proto star Cal Fletcher, it was eyes in the open all day, every day. Now I'm not saying just slip back into the team, but if you are going to be a tag team for just tonight, just reference it a little bit. Let the man say something of note. Oh, yeah, that's just that was just my thing. Um, Osprey's a troll, and I do adore him as being a heel troll. To keep saying proto gata, I'm like, sir. Just because you're elevating your voice, does that make that a good nickname? That's just my opinion. And I'm not mad at him trying to get revenge on Kevin Knight. Just that again, that's what petty heels do. They never forget. They don't want someone to get the one up on them. Like coming back to like after you beat a bunch of people, you come back and say, "But you haven't beat me." And you see that, so I get a little thing. Like I said, it was kind of all over the place. I do agree that listen, Don Callis family, we need to streamline what they're doing next specifically. I know we got pockets of what they're heading towards, but we need to streamline this a lot. Like case in point, Cal Fletcher is the champion, but he's talking about getting the belt off MJF. Can we focus on this belt just real quick, fast, in a hurry? Like Okada, he's what champ is him? Because he ain't the C2 champ, but what title he has?
C2, right?
No, Moxley has C2. What
Oh, you're
does
right.
Okada have?
What belt does Okada have? You're right. Let's see.
Yeah, like C.
I forget. What?
That's what I'm saying. We need to streamline. Yeah, we definitely need to streamline what Don Cal family is doing next. So this was a fine
International
promo.
championship. International championship.
I thought they unified us. See, that's why we got too many freaking belts. Didn't they unify
I thought so too. I
us,
thought,
sucker?
yeah, because
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston had them both, right? Eddie Kingston had the international and the continental championship. So,
Ugh. So yeah, we definitely need to streamline what Don Cal's family is doing next. I will just leave it at that.
yeah. Give me just one sec here. Hold on. Do. All right. We then had what was next? Oh, yes. What I was one of the major reasons why this episode of Collision was better than Dynamite. Tommaso Ciampa versus Ace Austin, I thought was amazing. I mean, I like Ace Austin, and I've watched him in TNA, and I'm pretty familiar with Ace Austin. I watch a lot of Tommaso Ciampa. These two guys work really well together. I thought this match worked really well. Um, Tommaso Ciampa getting another win, but this was really good. A great showcase for Ace Austin, a great showcase for Ciampa. I thought both these guys look really good. I can't wait for Jay White to come back. I can't wait for, even though I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Colton Gunn, just for all of them to be back, for Bang Bang Gang to be at
Yes.
full at full capacity again will be nice. So hopefully that happens sooner than later. But Ace Austin has been doing good work recently to keep the Bang Bang Gang still relevant. Him and Juice Robinson, and so yeah. And I thought this was a very solid match. This might have been my best match. Might have been my favorite match of all three shows, just because I'm so happy to see Tommaso Ciampa kind of away from WWE, and I like to see Ace Austin. I really like Ace Austin, so I enjoyed this a lot. What do you think of this?
I echo most of those sentiments. I'm not gonna say the best match of all three shows, but yeah, it definitely was up there because, as you said, Tommaso Ciampa just this Tommaso Ciampa is definitely the one of them people who he wants to be on top, but if you just let him wrestle, he's content because he is one of the best wrestlers. Period. And Ace Austin, he definitely one of the people who needs that. What's the word? We need to shine. We need to showcase him more as why we AEW has hired him. So this was a very good shine moment. I do agree with you about Juice Robinson about carrying the Bang Bang Gang. Can we get an 18? Can we get a staff report on Jay White? Can it really is like this was such a good freaking team, bro. This was a good group, and it did not reach their full potential. That's the thing that sucks. I feel like we could have done way more before Jay White got hurt. So I agree with all of that. But Tommaso Ciampa winning, definitely love that. They kind of teased Tommaso versus Juice Robinson. I wouldn't mind that. So all of this was a good time.
No, I mean I can see why maybe saying this was better than Swerve versus Omega is a hot take. Here's my contention though. My contention is that we got everything that we possibly could from Ciampa and Austin. I don't know that we got
Hmm.
everything we can from Omega and Swerve. Like I feel like this Omega and Swerve 2 didn't reach Omega Swerve 1, and I feel like so it just in that regard, I don't know. It felt like
Yeah.
this match just I don't know, we got more from them than we got from Omega and Swerve. That's why I like this one a little bit more. But that being said, it is what it is. I mean, it's a wash. I mean, both matches were amazing. So and basically just being nitpicky. Let's see, we got several promos that went down in a row. We got Lexi there's backstage with the Rascals and congratulate Myron Reed for his first singles win. Um, Zachary Wentz and Desmond Xavier, they're ready for the Don Callis family. And they want to be AEW World Tag Team or World Trios champions at some point. And to do that, they've got to beat the former Trios champions. So that was one, and then we had Harley Cameron backstage. She said she let Willow and everybody down, but they gave them everything that they could. Um, she first heard about the women's tournament. She didn't even have a partner, but she ended up with Willow, and it was amazing. Um, and it's time for them to focus on their own things, but they'll always be best friends and they'll always be the babes of wrath. So just to kind of reiterate what you said, it does look like Willow's going on her own way a little bit, and Harley Cameron's going on her own way, which
Woo!
is fine. They were a Frankenstein tag team going into this. Not that I don't love them together. And Willow is the TBS champion, so she needs to get back to defending that. And Willow's sweet spot for me still is as a singles competitor. That being said, I don't want Harley to disappear. I really hope they have
Yeah.
something in the works for Harley. I hope they continue to do something with her. We'll see what that looks like. I like the Rascals, so them, anything they do is I'm good with in general. And yeah, anything you want to say about these two promos?
Definitely the Rascals. I need my tree house. That's what I need from them to actually just get your Rascals on full strength. Um, and like I said, their promo was good, decent. Definitely go for the titles. They're definitely the new team that should have gold. I would definitely agree with that. Either trios titles or tag team titles.
Hmm.
They should be the next team, the next new team up. Most definitely. Totally agree with you about Harley and Willow. I will miss them as a tag team. It's one of the, it does like a freaking goodbye, which really sucks. And I do echo your worries about Harley. Harley is so good, and it feels like after this, I'm not sure what we do with her. And I hopefully she didn't go. We don't see her for the next couple of weeks because whatever, because she is that good. I'm trying to think of the top of the dome. Like it's like TBS, Will has the TBS champion, so it's not her. Uh, like I said, like, just find someone her to rival with, because she's a good person. She's a good personality. Like I love Daisy Rath, but it feels like she didn't have her full stretch of personality with Willow, which is here nor there. So I would just love for her to go back to when she was facing Mercedes Monet. She was using the puppet. She was doing promos. She's making up songs. Like I want to see full on Harley Cameron. So whoever can bring that out of her, go ahead.
No, I'm here for all of that as well. Let's see. So we next had another reason why this episode I'm gonna beat this into the ground. Another reason why this episode of Collision was better than Dynamite, because we had Aussie Open back together for the first time in a long time. Kyle
Oh, oh,
Fletcher, your TNT champion, teaming up with his
oh,
former partner Mark Davis
oh,
to
oh,
wrestle the Rascal Zachary
oh,
Wentz and Desmond
oh,
Xavier, aka Wesley. Glad to see, as I said before, Wesley get away from WWE. Happy to see him here with the Rascals and in AEW. Happy to see the Rascals in AEW get a little bit away from TNA and come over to a little bit bigger stage, get a little bit bigger shine. Um, Love Aussie Open. They're one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher together are phenomenal. You can see, even though they've been doing singles work, Kyle Fletcher mostly because Mark Davis was hurt. You can see how quickly, though, and how much of a team and the history together, they just gel right together again. And this match was amazing. I thought this was a phenomenal tag team match. I love both these teams. Aussie Open did get the win. They didn't call themselves Aussie Open. They're calling themselves just the Don Callis family. But Aussie Open did get the win. And yeah, the Rascals looked good in defeat, and I'm here for it. So I liked all of this. I thought this was very good. What about you?
the thought that went past my mind is how many years ago would it have been Ozzy Open versus the Rascals would have been something on pay per view? Just like we're getting this free on Collision. What's up, free? And, and it's like it's so hard not to go back to the past, because when the team is so good, or just like just do one, Ozzy Open. Just do one more match. I know you're a single competitor, and you're actually doing a good job. But this I want Ozzy Open. We should have had more with y'all together. I know he got hurt, but we should have had more with y'all together. But this match was very much so good. It was very much so tasty. I love the Rascals. Again, you want to run this back. Like I said, the Rascals are gonna be more of a team than Mark Davis and Cal Fletcher. So if you want to run this back and let Rascals beat them, that makes sense because they need to one up on. So this was, like I said, this was all good. I truly enjoyed this match. This was really, really good.
Trey and Don Callis share their hatred for Kenny Omega. Don Callis is extremely happy that Ricochet and GOA are going to take out Omega, Brody King, and Jungle Jack Perry in their trios match next Dynamite in Winnipeg. Anything you want to say about this?
This is a very weird collection of people for this match. Like Jack Perry with Brody King and Kenny versus Ricochet and Gates of Agony. It's like, huh?
I was thinking
Why
the same
why
thing.
is why is Brody and Kenny teaming with Jack? Like it really like I get Jack and Kenny
Of the
because they were
Ricochet thing.
together they're Luchasaurus, but why is Brody? Like it really I know people are like, just enjoy the match. No, I like English. I like stories. I need y'all to make a little bit of sense. And just Ricochet just having Kenny's name in his mouth, all willy nilly. And like, when does that happen? Like, but have fun because the match is gonna bang. We know that. But it's just like, why are we doing that? I just need clarification.
We get Kevin Knight, who says this is the year of the Jet. He's backstage with Lexi Nair. He's about to have a match with Okada for the AEW International Championship. And that even though it's been fun with Speedball and Jet Speed and those things, it's Kevin Knight's time to shine. 2026 is going to be the year of the Jet. What do you think about this little Kevin Knight promo? And what do you think about Kevin Knight kind of? I don't think that this was supposed to be maybe like it was with Willow and Harley. I don't think they're splitting up by any stretch of the imagination because they're trios champions. But, it almost kind of has that feel like Kevin Knight saying it's time for me to kind of do my own thing at the same time. So that's how I took it. What do you think about this?
It definitely hurt. It definitely felt like that. That's what I definitely heard. And it really is like, aren't those trios champions with oh boy, I don't want to I want to miss his name. What's his name?
Mystico.
Mystico. I like yeah, so I get like you didn't have to say I love B-ball, but you could have just said 2026 is going to be the year of Kevin Knight. You didn't have to downplay Speedball. Now I'm not sure how full the hints are, but it does feel like we're gearing towards maybe a Kevin Knight heel turn or split. I don't know how I feel about that, but I don't think I did. But like I said, this is entirely sir. I need to use your words better because like y'all are still until y'all lose the belts, y'all are still a team. Crackhead, emotionally, dang.
Yeah. Let's see. We get Moxley talking on Private Party and Will Ospreay in the last segment before the main event. He says Private Party's being pretty banged up, so we won't see them anytime soon. Rude, if I must say so myself.
Sir.
Moxley has no sympathy for them. Why should he? People keep asking him about Will Ospreay too, as if there's something that he's supposed to feel bad about there. Ospreay basically made his bed. You have to suffer the consequences of your actions. He got exactly what he asked for. He found himself in an unsanctioned cage match because no doctor would clear him, and now because he had a broken neck, what did he think was going to happen? And on Wednesday, Mox said Osprey faces Pac, the best, the elite of the elite, the top of the food chain, and the bastard has even less tolerance for Osprey's emotional response than Mox does in general. So, yeah, I'm excited for this. I thought this was fun. Again, more hyping up Osprey versus Pac, Osprey versus Moxley. I'm here for Osprey versus Pac a little bit more than Moxley just because I think their chemistry is a little bit better. But I'm here for both of them, so I think this should be a lot of fun. What do you think of this little promo?
It was good. It was decent. I'm in the same boat as you. I like Moxley hyping up Pat. Yo, you think my response was back? Ooh, until you face Pat. I love that. I love that. None of Pat needs it, but it is like Pat is basically the hit. I'm called the hit man of the Death Rider. So I like I said, I'm very excited for Pac versus Osprey. It's gonna be good. I can't hear you. Still can hear you.
Can
Yeah, right now. Okay, so you're good.
now?
Yep, you're good. I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. So it's time for the main event of this episode of Collision, which was a very solid main event between your AEW International Champion for that title, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, defending against the aforementioned Jet Kevin Knight in a singles match. This was amazing. I thought this was really good. Another reason why this episode of Collision was better than Dynamite on Wednesday. They had way better matches, I thought, on this episode of Collision. Um, and this was another solid match. I'm not the biggest Okada fan. Everybody knows that, but I thought he looked good here. I thought he came out and gave the effort that I like to see Okada give. When he gives it, I do like that Okada. And Kevin Knight, I mean, what can you say? I mean, the man is amazing, right? I mean, he tried that
Hmm.
flash from like 3 quarters across the ring, like that turning frog flash. Okada was like, yeah,
Bruh.
I mean, he missed it. Okada got his knees up in time, but it was still just that distance. And it was like, man. And the fact that Okada had to cheat at the very end by putting his arm on the rope to get the win further protects or not protects, but makes Kevin Knight look even stronger, right? Because a guy like Okada had to cheat essentially to get a win and retain his title. I mean, I don't know that he had to cheat, but he was frustrated enough to the point where it's like, I'm done messing around with this guy. I'm just going to cheat and be done with this, right? As opposed to
Yeah.
I continue to try to maybe do something amazing, right? So, and that's how it had the feel to it. So I enjoyed this a lot. Great spot for Kevin Knight. I thought this is a perfect main event for a Collision show. And I thought this was a great episode of Collision. I'm going to give this like a B or a B plus. It might even be an A minus. I mean, there were a couple little promo segments that were a little down, but it's definitely a B plus. I mean, I thought there was very little about this other than the baby Wrath losing at the beginning, which was kind of predictable. I thought this was very solid all the way around. They only had the one squash match and 3 really solid matches. You get to see Aussie Open back together. So for me, this was a very good episode of Collision. So I'm going to give it a solid. I'm going to give it a B plus. What do you think of the main event?
No.
What are you giving this episode of Collision as for a grade in general?
This main event was good. And like you said, we know that Okada has a regiment about his wrestling right now. He's like he didn't unless it's a big stage. He didn't really give 100% effort. But it's something about him like Kevin Knight that just sparks something in him. I love the whole duel fake out of who's gonna have the best drop kick. I love that. I love that so simple thing. And like you said, he's like, yeah, screw this. I'm gonna win. I'm kind of playing with you. So hopefully that'll lead down to something different or maybe another match. I wouldn't mind that at all. So that was definitely a good match. I agree with you about Collision in general. It was just more streamlined. It was like this Collision. Here's our matches. We're gonna and the matches exceeded expectations. We're just like it was just a good freaking fun time. And I appreciate and so like I said, only a couple of promos were just like, yeah, okay, so I'm in the same boat with you. B plus.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our second Collision episode and our third show that we reviewed tonight. And it does the final episode or the second episode of Collision, last night's episode of Collision, does get the win over the Slam Dunk Sunday episode and Dynamite from Wednesday night. Collision getting a rare win, although Collision has been stepping up their game in 2026. I think this might be their second or third win on Winner's Circle so far in 2026. It's at least their second win. I know that, which is a
Yeah.
big deal for them because Collision or Dynamite usually takes the win as a general rule. So good for Collision stepping it up. Good for Tony Khan, who says he wants all the shows to feel equal. Good for him for pouring in the energy to Collision to make it feel equal. Now we just need him to step it up on Dynamite too to keep it at the same level,
Yes.
right? Like, um,
Yeah.
and here's the thing. I love the Rocky Romero's versus the I can't even remember who he wrestled now, but I love those
Speedball.
matches. there's spots for those matches. That's why we still need a Dark or an Elevation or something like that. We need probably another third show for the guys that still need TV time, but don't belong necessarily on Dynamite at the moment because of the way they're booked. And if you want Collision to be an A show like Dynamite, they're probably not booked that way either. So you need another medium besides Ring of Honor for these guys to have some place to do that. The middle of a Dynamite episode is not the place to be doing that, unfortunately. So that being said, we will do some housekeeping and then we'll get up out of here because it's getting late already. So make sure and join us every Tuesday night for the cookout. Well, let me say, I say every Tuesday night. We try to be here every Tuesday night. Life be life. And so there are definitely many times that we don't quite get here on Tuesday nights. But if you hit that bell to be notified on the YouTube channel. You'll get a notification every time we're about to go live so that you can go ahead and join us. Come for the chaos, stay for the wrestling. Come for the wrestling, stay for the chaos. I said that backwards. we all come together to talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. That's every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Anika seems to be solo and has been for a little while. Some point, I think Sammy Joe's going to come back and join her on Friday Night Fights. But in the meantime, you can appreciate Anika solo watching SmackDown on Friday night, starting at 5 p.m. when the show starts, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern when the show starts. And she'll give you her real-time responses and reactions and opinions as she watches the show. So make sure and join her every Friday night for that. And then you're with us now for Winner's Circle. It has been bouncing around between Saturday mornings and Sunday nights. Sunday nights, it's still going to be probably either one for a little bit. But again, if you hit that bell, you'll get a notification before it starts. But it'll either be 7 a.m. on Saturday mornings or 5 p.m. on Sunday nights. That's Pacific time. 10 a.m. Eastern on Saturday mornings or 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday nights. Like I said, again, if you have that bell, you'll get the notification. We are on these social media platforms. Come over and check us out on all those. We'd love to interact with you. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to Linktree, and from Linktree, you can get to all of our social media from one place. Please come over and check us out. Love to interact with you guys. You guys are the best part of Workhorse Wrestling Network, so anytime we can interact with you, the better. And last but not least, our wonderful producer Dolores uploads the audio version to these podcast platforms, and you can catch the cookout, the audio version of the cookout on one of these platforms. You can listen to it while you're doing your exercising, doing your chores, out driving around if you don't have time to sit down and watch it, or even if you sit down and watch it and want to listen to it again later, because it's such an amazing show, which you can always do. You can catch the audio version on those podcast platforms. So without further ado, we will, in the words of our great producer Dolores, we'll cut the lights. And until next time, peace.
Bye.
The bell, that's the call. Winner Circle standing.